Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Signal Fire Radio, Season 3, Episode 2. It is a beautiful 82 degrees today in Wilmington, North Carolina at the end of February. Matthew, is it unseasonably warm right now?
Yep.
Or are we just being graciously blessed with beautiful weather?
I would say the prior.
Tell me about conditions for either surfing or spearfishing today. Given that it was so warm, do you think there's going to be a decent amount of local people out on the water? Or is it too windy? Tell me about visibility.
Really
I know you checked all the conditions.
I know visibility is pretty decent right now because
Really?
I was at none other than Scott's house today.
Oh?
And
Scott Wilkinson?
Yeah, and they're at high tide at his dock, and from his living room, I could see at high tide in his little channel, the water looked kind of blue.
That's a subtle way of saying, like, I know important people.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, my friend. Oh,
Notice how I didn't say his whole name.
Dude, he did this to me. Scott Wilkinson has been on the podcast.
Hence the joke.
Although you know what I love about Scott so much is that, like, he is, like, number1 contributor on LinkedIn. Like, he'll like your stuff always. And he and I met on LinkedIn. A former friend, colleague, Scott worked for John. And John, like, I did personal training for him when we lived in Atlanta. He's like, hey, you guys should meet. You're both in the area. And Scott still does not have a profile picture. So this was 2019. And I've asked him consistently for years, Scott, please put up a profile picture. And he won't do it.
He doesn't need it. He didn't get a house by the water with a profile picture.
I know. Matt also, like, subtly did this at church a couple weeks ago when he was like, bro, our daughters were playing with some people, like $6 million house, right on the sound. You're looking at me like you don't remember this conversation.
I'm trying to remember, but yes, now I do.
You
now
were
I know
there.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, and Matt was like, we're going to make friends with them. And I was like, let's do it.
And they have a private jet. So.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're good people, too.
Yeah, they're probably very, very nice people.
And the last name I didn't recognize, but apparently they're into real estate. So I'm like, oh, that's neat.
All right.
Their house was neat.
That is super neat. Hey, if this is your first time joining us on Signal Fire Radio, we want to welcome you. This is a show about ambitious leadership for ambitious leaders. And each and every day, Matt, we have encouraging conversations designed to feed the mind, strengthen the body, enrich the spirit, and grow your tribe. Matt, at the sign-off of last week's episode, I said, feed the body. Mm-hmm. I got to give myself some feedback. That was a bad sign-off last week. And then I also have another thing that I have to admit. I have no idea how to spell bureaucracy.
I do.
I don't.
Dude, I sat on my iPhone.
I do.
Okay, spell it.
I feel
Rip
like
it.
I do.
B-E-U.
No.
You're already wrong. See, I think
No,
it's...
B-U-E?
Nope.
B-E-A-U.
That's
Nope.
what I said.
No, see?
Nope.
See? I told you I didn't know how to
I
do
get
it.
screwed up on it all the time, too.
B-E-A-U.
No, it's B-U. B-U-R.
So it's
Bureaucracy.
bureaucracy.
Yeah, there are so many people.
Who cares?
I had to make the admission.
No, it's a good.
I had to make the admission.
I have another thought experiment. Okay, Matt, would you rather eat a baby goat or a matter baby?
What's the matter, baby?
Not much sugar. What's the matter with you?
All of that was done because Brandon and I talked pregame about throwing these little idiisms at you to see how you would handle.
Yeah.
And also to announce that we have a new segment in Signal Fire Radio. It is open for sponsorship. We are hoping that either Monster Energy Drink, Rain Energy Drink, or Waterloo Sparkling Water.
Or Apple.
Yeah. Or whoever made this pen wants to jump on this sponsorship because, Matt, this is going to go viral, okay? Mm-hmm. And my nephew, who is in the back of the studio today, inspired it. So I need to shout out John Michael, who's leaving for Navy boot camp in June, and he's got a contract to be a SEAL, so he's got to get through Bud. So congratulations, John Michael. You're carrying on the Renz family military history and heritage, and I'm very proud of you for doing that. But he inspired a segment for you, Matt, that I kicked it off with Brandon, and Brandon agrees that we have to do it, and we think it's going to go viral.
Okay.
We are going to give you a phrase said by a Gen Zer and ask you to define it or interpret it.
Check.
Do you want to do it now, or do you want to wait?
Just fire at random.
Fire at random?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to do it right now then.
Okay.
Let me give you the context while I pull up the phrase. The other day on our Instagram page, Signal Fire Radio on Instagram. Go give us
By the way, we made a post recently that my wife pointed out we misspelled his last name.
No, we didn't.
Yes, it said Ready John.
Hell yeah.
I'm
always ready.
Listen, where does Sarah?
always ready.
Listen, where does Sarah get the bells to tell me that I spelled it wrong? Of course, I put ready, John.
Where'd you get those bells from? Heaven.
It's a word play because he is always ready. See, but this is why you should follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram
Here,
because we're super edgy.
On Instagram, Unchained.
Unchained
We're
on
unbroken.
Instagram. Unbroken. Where LinkedIn, dude, I still got to maintain really. I just feel like I have to be really corporate on LinkedIn.
Yeah, for sure, because you've got a lot of corporate, jobs right now.
Yeah, I do have a lot of corporate jobs. No, I just feel like LinkedIn, the platform, doesn't like encourage like the creativity or maybe the genuineness or authenticity of some other platforms.
Rob.
Yeah, be the change you want to see.
I mean,
in the
I
world.
am. I
Why do you
was
think
the
I'm always
long-haired
ready?
hippie. That's why I think I became somewhat
You are far
known-
from a hippie,
known
my friend. I've
locally
seen your
in
wardrobe.
LinkedIn. I know. Second week in a row, Matt's made that joke. Okay. Well, so here's the context. On Instagram, I shared a post of a very funny comedian named Theo Von. And if anybody who knows Theo Von is listening, please get him in touch with us because I think he would be a great guest right here. Very, very funny.
That was
person.
the earlier thread with Eva.
Yes.
That
I
stand-up
sent it to
comedian
you.
guy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that stand-up comedian. So John Michael sends me your phrase that you're going to have to interpret here in response to this Theo Von video that I put up.
Okay.
You have a question?
Nope.
Okay. The phrase is Theo Von is out of pocket. Matt, interpret.
Off the hook. Out of this world. Effing extravagant.
Can you? No. So we're going to have to set some context.
Off the
we're going to have to
chain.
set some rules.
I like
Drop
where he's
the
going.
mic.
I like where he's going.
ha-
He's putting a 90s spin on a 2010s.
That was our off the hook, bro.
2020s. I
Okay,
guess.
so we understand. Yes, I agree with you there, but you have to define it in actual language. What does out of pocket mean? You can't just say out of pocket means some other thing that an earlier generation said that made absolutely
Word
no
up,
sense.
young people.
Yeah.
Out of this world.
Hello, fellow school kids.
It was out of this world.
Yeah, right. So each generation has one. I understand. I grant that. But it all has
I
a little bit of a
embrace our
different.
generations,
It all
like
has a
every
little
one
bit
of
of a
them.
different meaning. What the hell does out of pocket mean? I get why they use it or what they're trying
Out
to
of pocket, that means
convey.
when you're off the radar. Especially basically a way of ditching work. I am out of pocket.
Out of pocket.
I like it.
No.
Not
He
out
was,
of the pocket.
He was
Is
very.
it the or duh?
It was outa.
Or is it
Outta.
out duh?
Outta.
Yeah.
Out of
pocket.
Out of pocket, which is definitely different than out of pocket,
Right.
which means I am inaccessible at the moment. Because I
Correct.
do not believe that that was the intended meaning of Theo Von is out of pocket.
Right. Right. I just learned back at Thanksgiving what your drip is strong. I was like, I learned what that was.
Okay. All right. Well, we don't need to add that one to the
No.
reservoir. But still,
Nor
still,
will I ever.
still, sir, if you could please,
I feel as childish as can be.
if you could please answer the question.
I just did.
Nonetheless, no, you have not defined what you've given no context. You've only used other things to describe the same thing that
Yeah.
means the same
Yeah.
thing.
In a category of their own.
Give us the etymology of out of pocket, as Matt might last.
Like edamames?
Yeah, like edamames.
No. Like
Where do you
they're
think
in a
out of
category
pocket
their own.
originated from?
This conversation is going to go on for a very long
It could.
Out of pocket.
Do you think I would make a good litigator?
No.
so.
Like if he was my witness on the stand,
No.
I'd
Stick-
go full cousin Vinny on your
Stick
ass,
to
dude.
biz dev and relationship building and sales.
Tell us out of pocket. And I'm gonna
I don't know what else to say.
I'm going to Google it on Urban Dictionary so that way we can move on from it. I'll give you the lifeline this one time because we didn't talk about it, but next week, come prepared to answer the damn question.
Is there a better definition you could provide, Brandon Esquire?
Without knowing what the Urban Dictionary definition would be.
I mean, let's just assume it's off the hook. This generation's off the hook.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, I would say out of pocket means like he's wild. Like he's funny, he's crazy.
Damn, dude, he's in a category of his own.
All right, here's the definition from Urban Dictionary. Urban Dictionary has out of pocket when a person or persons, they, them, acts like an idiot or doesn't follow
He or
the rules
she.
per
He or
se.
she.
Why is she acting like that? Bitch is out of pocket. So yeah,
Is or as?
no,
What,
it just
plural?
says bitch is out of pocket.
That's a soundbite.
Yeah, that's
I got to keep it professional on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
Bitches out of
right. So here's another alternative meaning, very close to what Brandon was saying. If something or someone is out of pocket or out of pocket, it means they are wild, ridiculous, or extreme. Which now makes sense to me what the hell John Michael was trying to communicate to me regarding Theo Von.
I'm glad we got that squared away.
Me
though.
too.
Okay.
I
All
wasn't
right.
going to sleep tonight unless we got that.
You
figured
strengthened
out.
a nation today, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Send us Gen Z phrases that your kids say, and we will read them live on air in front of Matthew and make him give a proper definition of it. You can email me, rob@signalfire.media, or you can email Matt at signalfire.media. Send us your submissions. We're going to try and stump Matt. And if you know the sponsors, I mean, if you're somebody from Monster, you're somebody from Rain or Waterloo Sparkling Water, and you want to get on all this action, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
I like it.
Matt, how was your day today?
Busy.
You were with Bunker Labs. You want to shout out the folks from Bunker Labs and all the great
Shout
work
out
you guys
to
are
Bunker
doing there?
Labs. Yeah, shout out to all the positive impact we're having. Yeah, we had our bi-weekly veterans and residents huddle where it's a 6-month cohort. We come together every couple of weeks with veteran or military connected entrepreneurs, and we essentially sharing our struggles and support each other and provide resources and connections and tapping networks and all the aspects of like supporting early stage entrepreneurship. And anyways, we just had a meeting down at Common Desk, and
When you say bi-weekly, you mean like every other week?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I ask about that too. So what's bi-monthly? Is that every
I
other
think it's
month?
every
Yeah.
other month, yeah.
Well, then is twice a month the same as bi-weekly?
Affirmative.
Okay.
So when
We're solving complex challenges
this
here,
reminded
guys.
me of funny, so a buddy of mine when we were in the Marine Corps, he was like always one of those dudes.
You too?
He was always one of those guys that like no matter what, like if someone was telling a story, he would always like butt in and be like, "What are y'all talking about? What are you guys talking about?" And
Wait, was he paranoid?
no, just like was nosy.
Yeah.
And so
he got
like,
a little FOMO. He just always
Yeah.
wanted to be with the boys.
Yeah,
and know
exactly.
what's going on.
He was
Yeah.
like
Right.
cool, but he wasn't the cool guy.
right,
Yeah.
right, yeah, he's a big dumb idiot from Texas, and
I
Hey,
love
man, what
those.
y'all talking about?
and so one of our staff sergeants was like telling a story, and he's like, "What are y'all talking about, staff sergeant?" He goes, "Pursley, why are you always asking so many questions?" He said, "I don't know, staff sergeant. I'm just bi-curious."
Did he intend to say that?
No, he goes, "What the fuck do you mean?" And he was like, "Well, I just meant like I'm curious about things."
That is
That sounds like something I would say. You'd be like,
dude,
wait, what?
There's a T-shirt right there. I'm just bi-curious. Man, that is
Sorry,
hilarious.
so your bi-weekly, bi-monthly thought made me think of Joey. Shout
I
out
know
to
that's
Joey
always
Pursley.
threw me out too. I'm just now at 42 ironing out like what bi-weekly and bi-monthly means.
So what do you think as far as networking? So like I went through like a fair share of networking groups like when I went out on my own, like I went through a fair share of groups before like I found the ones that I like. Obviously VBC is like, you know, the one that I go to, but like how many's too many? There's groups out there that meet every week.
Mhm.
There's groups that meet bi-weekly.
Totally, dude.
Like every week for 2 hours. I was like, how do you have time in the
I think
middle
Rob
of
and I
the work
both are
week?
very well qualified to answer that.
I'm so burnt, and I'm super burnt out on networking, man, because I like so
you
this
hoard
is a-
yourself out for
This I
2
wore
years straight?
myself out. Absolutely. 4 years.
Hoard.
Oh,
Like socially.
with a J in in Spanish?
Whiskey Henry. Oh my lord.
Ja.
No,
yeah.
but you seriously, you were a social like
So how
Yeah.
much
slave
is too
driver.
much? Like if
Yeah.
you had advice for someone that's trying to find their way in the entrepreneurship world, what would you say is, if, in your experience,
Yeah.
a good amount of groups, times, frequency, that kind of thing?
I would say be very consistent with one high impact group. And don't like, because when we first got here and I opened the insurance agency, I was like, I have to meet as many people as humanly possible. I broke the numbers down, 25 conversations a week, meaningful conversations, and then conversions and numbers and blah, blah, blah would equal this. And for the most part, it worked. True to exactly as I calculated it. But it also had a serious human effect on me because I was doing it nonstop. So, to answer your
Nice.
question, like doing it, yeah.
Well,
Well done, Brandon. Well done. Ding. I was probably going to 4 groups a week there, and then if I would see like pop-up things with new groups that looked interesting, like I would just show up and go to it. But I got crazy burnt out. But then when we started VBC, and I had a leadership stake in it, and it was like, I can help craft this thing. And I just was like, I found way more enrichment personally and professionally by just like really being involved in one networking group that was serious about building their business and building their network, that I just stopped going to all the other ones. So
do you think that there's like a diminishing return on your ROI when it comes to the amount of time you spend? Like if you're doing 4 groups a week, like if you calculate, you know, you break down what you made in the month and you calculate down to an hourly level, like, was it worth your time? Did you get new clients from that, or, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I got a ton of new clients from it. I think you got to answer that question based off what kind of business you're in. Like in insurance, like the goal is to build a book and then you live off of the renewals,
right?
You know, so like if you, yes, your acquisition costs are going to be more than what you're probably in the negative with every single, you know, new household that you bring on for the first 3, 4, maybe even 5 years, depending. But you know, the goal is as you get it there, then you can back away on the other stuff.
Right. Well, once you get those, I feel like once you go out and you bust your ass and you get those, that you start getting more word of mouth, more organic clients.
That's
from
exactly
them.
what happened.
And so
that's exactly what happened.
It's just interesting to me. Like, you know, obviously, like you said, every industry is different, but yeah, networking groups can be super beneficial.
Yeah.
Or they can't be. You just gotta find the right fit.
What do you think, Mateo? Because you've got a lot of perspective on this too.
I mean, I agree.
Because you do a lot, dude.
I've done.
You still do a decent amount of things between Bunker Labs and Canines for Service and VBC.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I used to when I was at the university.
He's being humble. He's a board member.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I still want you to join, by the way, at some point.
What is it?
Canines for Service.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to shout out their gala?
Shout out Canines for Service Gala is March
8th. 2nd?
10/23. Amateur 2 Paul 40 10/23.
I'll Google it. You finish your answer.
God,
I'll Google it.
what a board member I am.
I'll Google
Please
it.
Google
you finish your answer.
So how many?
First of all, I think it depends on what market you're in.
Yeah.
Because I feel like frequent networking in the Wilmington market is going to look totally different than in Raleigh or in San Antonio. And I'll be honest, I feel like a majority of the networking groups that I've been to, a lot of them feel just like this like social club, and some just go for like the social aspect. And I've never seen any real value business wise, but then I've been to other ones that are almost too business focused that like you feel like you're going to class every day with a bunch of grandmas or something. But no, I mean, overall, I agree with what you said. Yeah, I think you definitely get to a point where it's diminishing returns and you've crossed a threshold that it's like you don't have equilibrium between supply and demand.
You bring up an interesting point though, because I've been thinking, trying to
Who,
think.
me?
Yeah,
Me?
you, Matt. Good job, Matt.
Hell yeah.
1 point for Matt. Is that in a smaller town, even though we're a growing town, and so a lot of the times with the things that we go to in Wilmington, you'll see new people at every new event, but for the most part, you almost always say the same people.
Core group, yeah.
Core group of people. Like I know if I'm going to VBC or if I stumble in on accident to PCYP or the chamber events, I know what real estate agents I'm going to see there.
Tim Howard.
Tim Howard's going to be there. Shout out Tim. Go buy his book, Mirror Book, available now. It's a very good read.
I have a signed copy. Thank you.
I do too.
No, you don't.
But yeah, we'll see. I'll know what real estate agents I'll see there. I know what insurance agents I'll see there.
I know which ones have free drinks.
What mortgage lenders I'll see there. So it does attract kind of this same nucleus of people. But to your point, like after everybody there kind of becomes a client, then does not attending those things weaken your referability by not being in front of those same people? Or are you so entrenched and valuable to that group of people that you're always going to maintain top of mind awareness with those people?
Yeah, like with you and VBC, you never come anymore. So,
hey man, it's essentialism. I've been going through this.
I love it. No, I'm just going through crap. I just love you.
I'm with Matt. I'm with Matt too.
No, damn it! I want to say something though. Adding to the networking group. So Coastal Connections, Tim Howard and
Del Allen.
No, not Del
Susan
Allen.
Jufrey.
Yeah, Susan Jufrey. They started it, and it's just exclusive to the Wilmington market. But it's a bi-weekly networking group.
Does that mean twice a week?
And when I first started coming to it, I'll be honest, I had very low expectations. And what it is it's every trade within an industry. And for Tim Howard, he's a realtor. So you have a lender, you have accounting and bookkeeping, you have what used to be risk management, and you have like pressure washing, mold remediation, like all those different companies. And I've been really, really blown away at the business development that I've just personally seen in the last year and a half.
Yeah.
Because there's only like maybe 10 people that are there, and it's always the same 10 people. So we got real strong relationships. But Tim does a good job of tracking it. That I was really impressed with that because that was the first time I've ever seen a networking group that was exclusive to like one industry.
Yeah.
And it's just like direct referrals. It's like I send everybody of all my clients to him.
Nice.
So
I like that.
You bring up a good point, Matt, because
we need an attorney.
And Tim was very smart strategically the way he set that up. And I've been thinking a lot about it too as well. Is like Tim was a real estate agent, and so he brought in people in seats to his left and his right that he needed to improve his customer experience, right? And but also strategically who he needed to continue to feed him business. So he created a a ecosystem.
Nice.
That eventually.
Check. He said ecosystem.
Yeah,
Buzzword,
I got one of Matt's.
buzzword.
Was that on Matt's buzzword list? Ecosystem.
No, it needs to be.
It needs to be. Yeah, that's another thing we need to do, Brandon, is have a Matt Mylot buzzword list. But yeah, Tim created an ecosystem, and over time, it sort of became somewhat of a mastermind group. You had people that were all at different industries that served a different purpose, but that were all equally
Yoked.
Yeah, sure, equally yoked. That's not a bad way to say it. In terms of wanting to grow their business and be productive members of the community.
Yeah. They're at the same. We're at the same kind of like let's go get them level.
So then here's the next question that I'll provide on this topic of discussion with networking is like, do those small groups with 10 or 12 people that meet regularly, is that a better way, a better use of your time to bring up your question, Brandon, than go into a 100-person thing where you can maybe talk meaningfully with 2 or 3 people? Like,
yeah,
they're different. They're just, I get so overwhelmed at some of those
and that's what
events
I'm going to say. At
too.
BBC, that's my, that's my biggest complaint is like I see so many dudes that I love and that people that are in my network, but it's like quality over quantity.
It's really hard.
Just like a little bit of grab ass and hey, and a lot of noise, and then it's done.
Yeah.
But I like Tim's group, Coastal Connections, has been awesome. But I've been to other local groups that like they meet every 2 weeks. They meet in the same place. They have to pay every month. They have monthly dues, and I could not have been more disenchanted with the few that I attended. I was just like, this is lame.
Yeah, I've been to one exactly like that. We probably went to the same one. And I was just like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel.
Could it be an acronym?
Yeah.
Is it a 3-letter acronym?
I don't want to dive into
Could we spell the word bin out of it?
Agent.
What do you think, Brandon? Like 100 people groups, small mastermind groups, in terms of their effectiveness, they both serve a great purpose.
Based on your training and experience.
Yeah.
Based on my training and
Your
experience.
field work.
It's like you said, it's industry specific. It's different for each industry. I don't really need a mastermind level one because I have to go do like continuing educations, and I don't want to go. I'd rather go network and like meet people.
Well, what if the mastermind had 11 different, not like 11 attorneys, but 11 people that can feed you business or help you level up in areas where you want to level up? So like who's somebody like, do bail bondsmen refer you business?
I don't do as much criminal as I used to, but they used to a little bit. And so, yeah, I guess that would, be beneficial.
And maybe bail bondsman, like what is your avatar? Like if you have like a client that you're just like, F yeah, this is the whale.
Dog.
What does that look like and where does it come from?
Dog.
Car crash.
Okay.
Or, sorry, 18-wheeler.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot more liability there.
Oh, tons.
And so...
That's why insurance is so expensive.
And so what that is kind of what I've been doing with social media over the past, year and a half is just building a brand.
Yeah.
Building, brand recognizability. Is that a real
Recognition.
word? Recognition.
Yeah.
There we go.
Recognition ability.
Yeah, recognition ability. See?
I'm bi-curious.
Hell yeah.
No, so like, I guess there's a difference because like with being an attorney, and so when you're marketing, right, and you guys know about this, so there's I don't know the technical terms, but I need something, so I'm going to Google, so someone's searching for a specific product.
Right.
So that's when you do you buy AdWords and do all these things. Or I could use this person in the future, criminal attorney, mold restoration company, something like, I guess maybe that's not a good one, but you want to have that brand recognition so that when someone does, have an incident, I got a business litigation issue, or, hey, I know someone that was like in a really bad car accident. I see this guy online all the time.
Yeah.
Let me call him. I know he's an attorney.
Yeah.
And even if I can't do it, at least the brand recognition's out there and I can point them in a meaningful direction.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so, but that's not networking. That's
Yeah.
like something completely different.
Yeah,
for
that's
me.
advertising, right?
Right,
That's
that's
telling
advertising.
everybody in a certain geographical area via outdoor, digital, whatever the tactic is,
Thank you, Kennesaw School of Business.
enough times, Kennesaw State University, over and over and over again.
Shout out Kenny's.
That, yeah.
Oh.
That's why you see
Kenny's.
billboards. That's why they're actually the owls.
Shout
Fighting
out
owls.
to Kenny Loggins.
Fighting owls.
Kenny
Woo-hoo.
Power.
You know who our most famous graduate is from Kennesaw State University?
Uh-uh.
Well, present company.
Somebody from Florida
notwithstanding.
Georgia Line.
No, even better. It was Ty Pennington. You
Who?
remember Ty Pennington?
Oh, yeah.
The
guy from,
Extreme Makeover?
Extreme
Extreme Home
Makeover.
Makeover?
Oh,
Yeah.
It's always sunny.
dude, that was always on there. Yeah, did he get busted for like he was a drug addict?
Easy, easy.
yeah.
We don't want
Allegedly.
Yeah, let's not get in the defamation world,
Let's-
all right?
Yeah, seriously.
All right, move that bar.
Yeah, no, dude, he was a class act, man.
Yeah, he was.
He was
Definitely recognizable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kennesaw State
Recognition
University.
ability.
Yeah.
recognition ability.
Woohoo! Yeah.
I was just gonna say something. It was hella funny. I'll remember it.
Opportunity missed. That's always the best when you think you have something funny to say. And
What
then you
class?
Yeah,
what,
yeah.
what year did he graduate? Do you
I don't
remember
know,
that?
like in late 80s, early 90s. It was a community college. It wasn't even a university yet,
Nice.
let alone a state university.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, at least you guys have a football team. 'Cause
Yeah, we
my
do.
alma mater doesn't.
we do now. We
Yeah.
do now. So I think the tactic kind of has to be twofold. Like I think you have to be a part of a big group of people where there's constantly new energy, new relationship opportunities to build, but be very strategic about how you work the room when you're there. Because I'm with you at VBC sometimes, dude. I
Yeah.
love everybody
Yeah.
in that room. I want to spend as much time possible with everybody in that room. But when you've got 40 or 50 coming at you, like you only have so much time to give.
Kind of reminds you of when you were in high school or when
And so
first time you
much-
put on dress
Hey,
blue.
hey,
You're like,
yeah,
whoa,
hey,
whoa,
hey, ladies.
give me that stick.
Ladies. Easy.
Well, this is 2023. Just say
Yeah, it's
people.
different now.
Yeah,
It's
people.
different now.
Yeah.
But
Hey, man, I'll take compliments from anybody.
absolutely.
Oh, you right.
But absolutely every time I leave VBC, like I'll get with somebody, even if it's brief, and like the next day one of us will follow up with each other, and then it'll be lunch, and then it'll be one-on-one time. And sometimes it leads to business, but it doesn't always have to, because we're building community and we're building friendships and relationships. So that the big macro type of events are important, but it doesn't give you the ability, I don't think, as much as we've seen with some of those smaller ones, to like really work on shit.
Why are you pointing at me? Smaller ones. What does that mean?
Coastal connections, because you brought up the example. Like more closely held groups.
Very well.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Where you can really, really work on stuff. Where
Okay.
you could go ask somebody. Like Tim. Dude, Tim did me a huge solid when we purchased the farm because it was an extremely complex real estate transaction. And if I didn't have like a time to see him every couple of weeks to like talk with him and make sure that we were doing the right thing, like it could all got totally screwed up. I mean, it's still hard. We're still not done with it. It's been
There
the
have
biggest,
been a lot of things that have
bro.
been
It's been
screwed up.
it is full transparency. Been maybe the biggest pain in my ass in my entire life.
Yeah, but it's going to have the greatest
It's going to
return,
have,
for sure.
yes, I agree with you. I still have all hope and optimism that like the vision we saw when we first walked out there is absolutely going to happen. But if I didn't have him, then it would have been pretty difficult, right?
So, and so like that kind of brings me back to like what I like, where I was going is I think almost the overexposure with large groups is good for that, because even if you don't get meaningful conversations with those people, you get to hand out a business card,
Yeah.
and there's that there's that recognizability.
Recognition ability.
Which is what I'm looking
ability.
for at these, like VBC was big for me because, there's other lawyers there, but, having meaningful conversations and you relate on a personal level with any industry you're in, there's 1,000 other folks that can do the exact
Right.
same thing you can
Right.
do. And so if they like you, they're going to choose you every
Yep.
time. As long as you're going to give the same product, same work, same quality. And so for me, it's more meaningful to go to like a VBC type group, and I don't really. That's my group, so I don't go anywhere else really. But a large group where someone can be like, oh, I heard so and so needs an attorney. Hey, I met this guy one time. He's pretty cool. Give him a call.
Yeah.
You got to implement DAC.
What's that?
What is DAC?
You guys don't know the acronym DAC?
No, I had an agency that worked for us at the insurance agency that was named
You have to be
DAC.
deliberate. You have to be authentic, and you have to deliberate, authentic, and consistent with business development.
That was that forehead vaccine injury claim,
God
just
bless.
taking on more and more credence, man.
I found the scar, by the way. So.
More and more credence. Well, I think this networking conversation is kind of a perfect lead-in to our listener-generated topic of the day. So I put a post out on LinkedIn a couple weeks ago, and so thankful to everybody that commented.
We got thousands of comments, and we got...
because it's my LinkedIn.
Is that audacity, or is that just pure ass? I happily am not on social media.
I know. But I miss you on LinkedIn, dude. We became friends on LinkedIn, and you've really...
Dude, that's all I need.
It's because you got the iPhone 6.
Dude, I'm going to... That
it's because
experience
you
was
don't
out
have...
of the pocket, bro. So out of the pocket. I met him, and I was like, he's so out of the pocket.
That bitch be out of pocket.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's because you got the iPhone 6.
I love the Unchained. You guys are so Unchained right now.
So Unchained. I need you to get a freaking better phone. If anybody from Apple is watching, or maybe Mr. Beast.
If anybody has a phone newer than an iPhone 6,
maybe Mr. Beast wants to gift you. Look at it. It's got a button.
I had an iPhone 11 until I lost it coming home from a gala one night back in the fall.
Did you hear how many galas the guy goes to?
Is it gala or gala?
I always say gala.
I think I do too, but I think it's gala. No, I think it is gala.
But you always say gala.
Yeah.
Just like I always call it a barbecue because that's what it is.
Canines for Services March 6th.
You mean a grill? You mean a grill? I'm like, no, it's a freaking barbecue.
That's different. That's different.
What's the thing that you put
charcoal
beverages in
and light it?
No, cold beverages. Like
Cooler.
keeps your beverages cooler.
Yeah.
Cooler.
And
you call it an ice chest?
No, I don't. But that was like a culture shock for me when I heard people call it an ice chest. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Have you guys ever
ice chest?
Have you guys? And I'm gonna send this clip directly to my Canadian friends that I used to work with at Assurant. A nightcap or a beanie. Have you ever heard it referred to or called a toboggan?
Yep, it's
Indiana
painful.
baby.
Okay.
Indiana baby.
Okay.
I grew up with toboggans.
Yes. So
yeah,
is toboggan,
and I wrote down them.
Hey, is
I wrote
toboggan,
on them.
toboggan the first thing you would call that hat?
Yes.
Me as well.
Yeah.
Me as well. You?
It's because we're cultured.
Beanie. No, beanie.
But you've heard it's not.
I would refer to it as a watch cap.
Yeah, you're California.
And if I'm in supply, it's a cap, comma, watch.
So Indiana's not that far from Canada. My Canadian friends have continued to this day roasted me relentlessly because we were on a work trip, and I said,
What do they call it?
I need to get. They call it a toque, which is just French for hat.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. French for hat is.
Oh, please.
No.
I can't tell you how many hours I've spent debating this in bars with my old coworkers from Assurant. But it was.
Is it really toque?
Yes, we were in Rapid City, South Dakota, at this bar. It was freezing cold.
Bougie, shocker! He friggin' name drops the city he was in because he's.
Shut up! I'm painting the picture for you. It's like a Irish pub in a country western town, essentially.
Why are you saying Irish?
You got a problem with this?
No. I'm setting the scene for you.
Petty Jadden.
This isn't 1840s New York anymore. I just watched Gangs of New York again, and so I'm all about protecting myself.
I love Gangs of New York. We should do Scorsese ranked. But so it's like 12 of us from all over the United States and Canada, all states and provinces. And I say, I'm gonna go outside. I need to get my toboggan. Right? There's like 6 of them are from Canada. It felt like one of those moments from a movie where the whole bar goes quiet, the record scratches, and all the Canadians look at me.
McFly.
Yeah, as if I had just made the most gravest of insults on humanity.
Egregious.
Yeah, egregious. So I fought them for hours.
Abhorrent.
There's still a $100 bet on the table, Bernie Perry. You owe me. You owe me because I told him that if he flew down south and we interviewed 10 people in the streets of Atlanta, Georgia, every single one of them would call it a toboggan. And you guys are now published further proof.
I didn't say toboggan, I said beanie.
But you've heard it called a toboggan.
Yes, but I didn't hear that until I came to the East Coast, and it was my wife's family.
Fine. It's a Midwest, East Coast, Southern thing. Maybe it hasn't made its way out to California yet.
The trend hasn't made it out west.
I don't know how the hell I got on that.
I was so arrogant. I'm like,
I don't know how the hell we got on that segue.
I don't know, but it was good.
Yeah, but it was good. So here's the listener generated topic. Ties into our
Are you stealing this from Lathe HR?
No.
HR Nightmares?
No.
Shout out.
No, I put out on LinkedIn, I said, what are some things that are of interest to the veteran community that you want us to talk about?
Are you getting paid for every time you say LinkedIn? Because it's been a lot.
LinkedIn. No, I wish.
Have you noticed his transactions lately? An awful lot of spending.
Listen, dude, I'm doing everything I can to make money right now. So if LinkedIn wants to send me some, come on, boys.
By
the way,
OnlyFans.
I have a bone to pick with you, but we can talk about it later.
I've got an idea for OnlyFans. I'll talk to you about it.
Hey, let's just say I have a Caribbean vacation planned for this summer, and it was planned juxtaposed with the Renz family.
I was wondering when this was.
And then I just found out yesterday morning, my wife's like, "Hey, so I guess Rob and Jen aren't going."
We're not a no. We're not a no. We're not a no.
Hey, tag me in, coach.
Hey, we're not a no.
I will. I absolutely will, Brandon.
We have a construction loan that needs to be closed, and we need some safety and security knowing that our house is being built. And when that is done, and if the time is right and the money is appropriate, we will still go on vacation.
Okay.
Because
you need spice rum, the Macarena.
Every cell of my being, Matthew, wants to go on vacation with you. Okay, I've got to get our little mobile podcast kit. We're going to start a show called Cruise News.
Don't tell everybody.
Well, I don't want to be misrepresented in any of this.
Okay. You
defamation, libel, smearing. We'll talk about it offline.
Law.
Let me get to what the listener-generated topic was. God bless. Okay, so Hannah wrote in, and she asked that we talk about...
Who's Hannah?
Montana.
Who's Hannah?
Somebody who follows me on LinkedIn. We're connected
on
LinkedIn. All right, I'm going to send it to you.
Thanks to Hannah from LinkedIn.
Thank you, Hannah from LinkedIn. And she did say I could use her name publicly. I asked.
What's her last name?
I'm not going to do that. I told her I'd only say first name. Okay, so... She has been fixing resumes for 6 years now. It prevented her from being homeless, she said. She wrote, okay, so here's exactly, I'll just read it word for word, the first couple paragraphs, or first couple sentences. I've been fixing resumes for 6 years now. My own resume saved my life. It prevented me from being homeless. A meaningful job pulled me up by the ear and gave me a sense of purpose to keep going. Anyway, for 3 years while I was employed and in school, I did resumes for other veterans and helped them find meaningful and high-paying employment. When I started charging, because I had to leave my job because my husband PCS'd, so she no longer had employment, I got met with harassment so bad that she had to turn her website and paid ads off. So the topic she wanted us to discuss, and I think that there's two roads that we can take.
PCSing? All right.
No, two roads we can take on it is the charging for your time, which I 100% agree with. If you're going to provide a service to someone...
He never shuts up about charging. Matt, your time is worth something.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's not, Rob. It's not worth it.
I'm awful. Spit in my mouth again.
I'm dry.
But the charging for your time, knowing what your worth is, and that can be a hard thing to figure out, right? And that takes a lot of, like, market testing. Like, could I go to somebody and say, yeah, for me to consult for a day is $1,000.
Sure.
That's my time for a day. That part can take some feeling around in the dark until you find your voice in it. But Brandon, what do you think about this story? So she wrote resumes for 6 years, did it for free for a while, and then said, okay, now I'm pivoting to make money.
No. We put a moratorium on that freaking word.
That
we
was
don't
season
say
one.
Pivot.
Okay. All right, pivot.
So we are forced to pivot in these troubling times.
COVID's
uncertain...
over. Dude, COVID's over. So
what's
we can bring back...
COVID? I told you not to say COVID.
Even though I just had it. How many moratoriums do we have?
I told you never to say that.
Listen,
Moratorium
they expire at the end of every season. They expire They expire every season. And we bring it up. Brandon, your thoughts on this?
You know, so I like to get the full story. So obviously we won't get that. But my first question is, why would she start getting harassment for charging?
I did. Want to ask some follow-up questions.
Wait, hold
about that.
Was it like freeresumebuilder.com and then she starts charging? I could understand if you start getting
let me get a little bit more into some of the details to see if I can generate an answer.
Matt, I want to hear your thoughts on this. know what you were about to say.
I was just questioning. I mean, if she has a spouse that's PCSing, that would be indicative that they're an active duty family member.
Yes, that's the
I
understanding
was just
that I
trying
have
to
as well.
find the homeless. And I did want to make a point.
Yeah,
Doesn't
yeah.
everybody's resume keep us from getting homeless? I believe so.
I have
Every job I've had has been based on my resume.
Well, she's got the toughest job in the Corps.
That's right. Being a Marine wife. Hell yeah.
I used to love those stickers. We had this one boot
Now
come
it's on
in.
TikTok.
with that cheesy rose.
I'm a
yeah.
Marine.
We had this
I
one
love
dude
my
driving his
Marine.
girlfriend's car, and on the back of it, it had a "Half My Heart's in Afghanistan" sticker.
No.
Dude, I bought. Dude,
That's as bad as the Jacksonville, North Carolina tattoo of the first girl you meet off
I
the
will
naked.
totally own it.
Oh.
I bought Sarah an "I love my Marine" sticker. She put it on her
Yes.
when we were dating.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Please.
And I thought it was the coolest thing. I was like, oh.
Can you please unearth a photo of that? There has to be somewhere.
Yes. yes,
Yeah,
I
we
will.
have to add that to the archived records.
And there
of
was also a
Single Fire Radio.
NorCal sticker on it. Ha ha ha.
Hell yeah.
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 96
What car was it?
96 Sunfire, Pontiac Sunfire. And it was red. It was fire engine red.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that, Matt. I don't. It doesn't look like I'm going to get
Well,
the
that's
answer to
fine.
that
You know,
question.
so like my take on it is, you know, there is a process to becoming, for me, to feel competent enough to know my own worth or my own value. And so, you know, for the first couple years that I was a practicing attorney on my own, I would give people breaks or discounts, and not because like I couldn't do it, but I just wasn't as confident in myself.
Did you feel like you had to give a discount to earn the business?
I felt like I was in a position where I would rather have the business and, you know, take a hit on it just to keep the lights on type of thing.
I agree.
You know, still doing quality work.
And we, adding to that, we identified that was, I mean, that was one of my biggest, that has been one of my biggest struggles since I started Signal Fire full time. I mean, that's been one of my biggest struggles is.
Dude, I think it's a lot of people who start off in business for themselves.
Yeah, handouts.
Absolutely.
Well, it's not necessarily handouts, especially if you're building it from the ground. Because I absolutely understand what Brandon is saying. Like sometimes you bid the business and you take the business because you like desperately need it, and you might be looking like this
But you know what's crazy is that like even though you still get business from that, once you're at a point where you know your value, you know your worth, and you're able to say, you know, hey, I'm not giving discounts. This is what my time's worth.
right.
It's almost like people pick up on that, and they're like, and if you say, hey, this is what it's going to cost, take it or leave it, they see the confidence in that,
Yeah.
and they see that, oh well, they are worth their time, and I want to pursue that because I've turned away business before. I'm like, hey, I'm too busy right now. I don't have time to deal with something that is not going to be worth my time as well. And so it's
And
a good point to get to.
Do you think you had to take those lumps, give out those freebies, give those discounts to be able to get to
100%.
that point?
100%.
Do you know anybody that just like stepped right out of the box and was like, "No, I am a lawyer. This is my, cost per hour." Or
yeah, if
has
you go to a bigger firm and
Okay.
if you're responsible for going and getting your own business, but you also have like the fallback of being at a big firm, like you can do that. But like a baseline, someone told me, on the TikToks recently,
on the TikTok?
they were like, they said, I've never heard a lawyer refer to themselves as a small business owner, but it makes sense. I'm
What?
a one-man shop.
Yeah.
That absolutely
I have
makes
a
sense.
paralegal. I'm running a business. I have,
It says
I'm
it
an
right there,
entrepreneur.
PLLC.
Yeah.
Like that's
Click.
Click.
It
So,
says
like-
it right there.
So, but everyone that I've ever talked to that went out on their own or started a firm with somebody at the grassroots level, it's the same story as a lot of businesses. And it's just, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do to earn the business, build up your resume,
right.
become, competent. You're already competent, but become proficient and become really good at what you're doing. And then you can start raising your rates, then because once you build that funnel, then you have more time for clients.
You have more
that pay
street cred.
Right. You have
Yeah.
more street cred. That's right.
I think that what you just described
you know what that
there,
means, John Michael? Street cred?
street
Probably has
cred, no freaking
He definitely
clue.
doesn't know shred cred.
I think what you just described there, Brandon, is like the intersection where you meet up and all of a sudden you get owner's mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Because like that doesn't just happen. Because I remember being an employee and being a damn good employee. Like I would work hard.
Yeah.
I would think strategically. I would come up with good solutions.
What about at Publix?
At Publix? Dude, listen, man. I put effort into working at Publix.
I'll give you effort.
Bro.
But did you do everything you just said?
No, I mean, I still had some party boy in me, but I never missed a shift. I never called out
But
because
that's
I was
employee mentality, which is good.
right.
if
It's
you're an
employee
employee.
mentality, but I did put some ownership into my thing, you know, and eventually I didn't want to do that anymore, and that's when I probably started to drop my pack a little bit. But when it becomes yours, maybe you get hyper focused on the thing that you're supposed to do to make you money, but you haven't hit that realization that you're like, no, I am the business, like.
Yeah.
And the business is me, and I have to run this whole thing as if I'm a business owner, not an attorney or sales and marketing or
Matt, whatever it is
Whatever
that
it
you
is, the heck that you
the
do.
Swiss Army tool of a human being that Matt Mylott is.
I'm a life generalist.
There's nothing wrong with being an employee or an employee mentality, because if you don't have a vested interest in, if you're doing your job, that's great. But when you become a business owner, I feel like you said, at some point that switch has to flip, and you got to have that owner mentality.
Yeah.
Extreme ownership.
Yeah. Extreme ownership. Yeah. And maybe that's where like a mastermind type of thing comes in, because you can have people at different, emergent points, I guess, maybe, or checkpoints or markers throughout that trajectory
Waypoints
of being an owner. Sure. Waypoint.
Okay.
Just different experience levels, right? Like, because I'm at what I would say year 4.5 as a truly self-employed person. Where, somebody like Chase is at 5 or 6 years ahead of me. And so I can go to Chase and say, hey, what do you think about things like this? And then I can spin off and I could go to Paul Trapp, who has turned out to be an amazing connection.
Dude, right?
He's been doing it for 30 years. And
Hella
I'm like,
gifted.
Hella gifted, really smart, good communicator. Shout out to Paul and Event Prep. And if you haven't registered for the Patriot Franchise Expo yet, go to patriotfranchiseexpo.com and do it. We got almost 30 exhibitors and sponsors. Hundreds of people are going to be attending. And if you want to get in on this ownership mentality that we're talking about, that's a great place to start. But yeah, Paul's been doing it for 20 or 30 years. And I'll be like, Paul, what do you think about this challenge that I have in my business right now? And he's got amazing freaking perspective on it. So if you surround yourself with those people, not only does he have amazing perspective, he has actual solutions. He's not just like giving me talk of theoretical things that he thinks
that's very well put.
Could go right. He's like, oh, I had that same situation at year 9, and here's what I did about it. And if you surround yourself with people like that through your networking efforts, and you know your worth, and those people know that you know your worth, to your point, like when you start telling somebody no, this is a $20,000 job.
Right.
Not 2.
But that's an important piece too, is finding, if you're venturing out into something new, finding a mentor.
Yeah.
Somebody that
A sea daddy.
you don't necessarily, buy them lunch, buy them drinks, not someone necessarily that you're paying. I know there's like mentors out there like, oh, pay me X amount of dollars a month and I'll mentor you. No, find somebody that was in your shoes and has actual experience.
Yeah, 5-10 years ago.
That is fine, that is happy to do it because someone did it for them. You know what I mean? And that's someone that genuine, like you said, that you want to associate yourself with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But circling back to the first question, I think that she should absolutely charge for her time, especially she's been doing it so long. She's very good at it, I would assume, after 5 or 6 years. And so if people are complaining about it and harassing her about it, you don't have to, you can turn the channel, or you don't have to use me.
Yeah.
Was the harassment because the service was no longer being offered by her? Is that
No, because it was no
it's
longer
paid
being
now.
offered for free.
Gotcha.
Which
Dude, God bless her, man. Do you realize how screwed up my resume was when I left the Marine? I mean, it was just, I felt like I reading a PMI.
Right.
Yeah, no, yes. Big shout out to the people who
Did
are
I say-
willing to sit there.
PMI is, does that make sense?
Yeah.
MCI?
MCI was the red thing that
But
you
what
went
was
to learn
PMI?
from. Primary
Marksmanship
maintenance
instruction.
No, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking of like a primary maintenance
You ever
manual
notice how
for
Matt
like,
does that? Yeah, he does that. Yeah. That's what I was thinking right there. You. Yeah, you should absolutely charge something for your time. But I would also say, if you're getting feedback from a group of people, also have the courage to like look inward on that too and say, okay, I started charging for something, which you should do. You should 100% do. But then also go, how did I communicate that to people? Did I really sell my value? Because there is a courage gap that happens when you go from saying, I'm not doing things for free anymore because I value myself and I value my time, to saying,
yeah, but if I start paying you for that, I think that's illegal.
What? Oh, jeez. I'm making a good point.
All right, stay with me.
Don't
I'm
interrupt
sorry.
my sound clips for Instagram. What was I even talking? Okay. Oh, to saying like now I'm charging for this thing. There a courage gap exists where you have to like ask for that business at that price point so many times before it becomes just like, yeah, listen, this is $5,000, or this is $10,000, or this is going to be $1,000 a day, or $1,000 an hour is what I hope you're going to bill right now.
One day, baby.
One day. You're only putting in how many? If you're billing $1,000 an hour, how many hours are you putting in a day?
A lot.
Yeah.
Trying to retire early, baby.
Yeah.
Trying to retire early.
Correct answer. Ding, ding, ding.
So, if you were a family member, we're at Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987.
Wait, is this the toxic water thing?
Yeah. Hey, listen, we're
No,
gonna.
but seriously, I'm the local counsel for about a couple thousand cases for that. So, if you had that issue,
I did
reach
that
out to
person
us.
that I referred to ever reach out? I know you can't say their name on air, but
I don't remember honestly.
I'll-
Dude, it's been very busy.
what
very
has that
kinetic.
been like? Yeah, I want to know what that's like. Catch us up on that because I'm not seeing as many of the commercials, so I'm guessing the caseload is pretty much.
Yeah. So what happened? So this bill, we were involved with the burn pit, legislation trying to get that through. Well, they attached this Camp Lejeune bill to that.
Yep.
So the PACT Act passing also passed.
We'll be
the Camp
coming up on a
Lejeune.
year in that
Yeah.
pretty soon. Yeah, or at least a year to the day that we were all here in Wilmington kind of
Right.
sparking the fire to get that thing done last year.
Yeah, for sure. And so the Camp Lejeune Justice Act of 2022 was a part of that legislation. And so basically, it got passed in August, and then so from July, when it seemed like they were going to have a deal, to September, October, everybody was dumping money. But as you guys know, once it got passed, that ad spend got really high.
Huge.
And so only the big dogs could advertise. And so now they think that, it's one of those things, it's been out there so long from an advertising perspective that people know about it.
Right.
I get so many memes from you.
Yeah.
I get memes from you. It's like, just,
Nonstop.
I don't care about Lejeune or something, it's like, but, people get a little overloaded on it. And so the people that were going to signed up. There's still going to be people trickling in.
Yeah.
And it's important, for people to know, especially like maybe your parent, with the, if you're, because it can be someone that passed away or someone that's alive. And so a lot of times if I'm in my 90s and I'm really proud to be a Marine, I'm really proud of my service, and someone said, even though I'm dying of cancer, well, my last act's not going to be to sue the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so,
At 90 something, are you really dying from cancer?
or maybe it's like 70.
Maybe.
Well,
I mean,
I've heard
these
some
things
really,
have different latencies,
Yeah.
man. Like, that's
Have you
it.
guys seen that documentary? It came out in like 2013.
About the Camp Lejeune water?
It's called
Yeah.
Semper Fi.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know there was one.
Yeah.
It's so that's when I first became acquainted with the water issue. I have it. I'll give it to you. It's very.
It's on VHS.
I was gonna say, is it tape?
I'll give you. I would say I was going to give you a password, but somebody might take my access.
Yeah. Take your Netflix
No,
forever.
it's very sad. There was a lot. It's terrible. The situation was just really bad. The Marine Corps, the government knew about it. They actively
Try to cover it up.
They actively tried to cover it up.
I mean, that's like the what was it, Julia Roberts movie?
yeah.
Sweet tomatoes?
No, the toxic water thing.
Aaron Brockovich.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't know if there's a great, well, man.
That sounded so ladylike,
Yeah, that
bringing
was
up
good,
Aaron
man.
Brockovich.
That was
good.
Like,
I love
I'm a
it.
It's a
single
good
mom,
movie.
It
Listen,
was
it's a good movie.
and it's got Julia Roberts. So
And as girl dads, I'm all about female empowerment like that.
Yeah.
Like, I want Maddie to be a freaking attorney because that kid doesn't take no for an
love it.
answer at all.
he wants
love
to
it.
join Code Pink, and I told him no.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that
Continue on, please, Brandon.
No, it's just really sad. And so, it is still ongoing. We're in the process. It's going to get really busy here soon. But yeah, so I'm local counsel for a couple very large law firms that are going to be pushing a lot of cases through here. Been out to Houston a couple times, Vegas a couple times, and so it's been interesting because it's very rarely are you a part of something that is like brand new. This is like brand new.
Yeah.
So, but the good thing is that the Camp Lejeune issue is starting to bring light to other bases that have had issues. Like there was one in Hawaii, like 2021, 2022, that I learned about from Burn Pit 360, their Instagram. There's water contamination then, and it caused really a lot of issues. And, the military is a huge bureaucracy, to a certain extent. I can't spell it.
Bureaucracy.
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 But as we, everyone that has ever been a part of something like that, or even like the post office or anything, one hand doesn't know what the other hand's doing. And so it can take a long time for issues to actually come to light. And so there's, and there's a lot of bases and a lot of issues that could be out there. And you should go and get your disability compensation, veterans, if you have anything, even if you didn't deploy. I mean, you still earned it.
Yeah.
And it's the same way with, if you're injured somehow, some way by being present on a base, the government owes that to you.
Yeah, I've been having this conversation with people more frequently because I do believe, and Matt, I know, because you and I have had this exact conversation. I've had it with John Lewis. If you need irrigation, call John Lewis at HydroWise. That is a good
HydroWise NC.
man, HydroWiseNC.com. And a few others where they're like, I'm at 40%, right? They did 4 years, 8 years, 12 years. And they're like, I feel like I'm already getting more than I should.
Right.
And I'm looking at it as like, but are you really? Because you don't know what, like, one thing that I'm genuinely, and I joke about it when, we're having beers around the campfire.
Take
like
your time, Rob.
the 6 rounds of anthrax that we got for a vaccination, no idea how that's going to, right in the center of my forehead. I have no idea
Right. I got a scar from it.
what effect that might have on my body in my 60s, 70s, and 80s. I can tell you this, my instinct tells me that having anthrax pumped through me is not a good thing and probably won't have good long-term health consequences. So like part of me is like, I need disability for the things that I deal with, like that are current, that are immediate, but then also have some foresight to say, I don't know what I don't know about the things that I was exposed to. And then that kind of helps me. And it's probably akin to survivor's guilt in saying that, like, no, $1,400 a month from the VA is not sufficient for what I might have to deal with rising healthcare costs and
living costs
and a healthcare system that is already so overburdened that I probably need to consider getting a rating higher than what I currently have for what I don't know.
Yeah.
Is there merit to that thinking like that, or?
I absolutely think so. Because I personally struggled with even getting a rating for a while, and then
me too.
I was at 20% for tinnitus and PTSD.
I was at 0%
like 11 years.
Yeah,
I was at 0%.
Yeah, you
for like
were
12 years.
And I was at 20% for a long time, and then like I feel like you have to allow yourself to advocate for yourself at some point, or have someone that's going to push you, because it's not really applicable, but like everyone's kind of heard of the legal concept, at least in criminal world, of like fruit of the poisonous tree, right? So like one thing was done badly, so like the stop's bad, right? So anything after that gets it. So if an injury in the military, if hey, I had a high ankle sprain, well 15 years later, I'm having these really bad, I can't walk, I can't run, I can't do all these things. It might not be wholly attributed to what that instance, but that was like the first piece of it.
It was a contributor.
Yeah, as a contributor. And so if anything, and I have a friend that we just were out to dinner the other night. He was in the 82nd Airborne. Yeah. Like, had a lot of injuries from jumps and everything like that, but he didn't deploy overseas. And so he's like, I just don't care. I don't need it. Like, other people can use it. You're not taking from a pool of money, right? I mean, it's there. You're not taking money away from another veteran.
Yeah.
It's allocated for.
But does it become a burden? Because, I mean, like right now, does the increasing veteran population become a societal burden if we're all trying to get to a higher disability rating? Like we're seeing with like Social Security, because we have so many boomers that are hitting retirement, and everybody in Washington, D.C., who, we said on the show last week we could give a shit less about the people in D.C. and federal politics, but those social entitlement programs can become burdensome to the taxpayer. So do we risk that?
That's not your fault, though.
No, it's not.
That is the military's fault for over-recruiting.
The battle belongs to the Lord, Robert.
Yeah, I know. I'm just, I'm,
no,
I have
but what I'm saying is to the veteran that might be asking themselves that, it's not your problem that you were put in that situation. Yeah, you volunteered, but you volunteered because there was boat space. You know what I mean? And so these, some of the social entitlement programs that people might not be on board for, it's just like a shotgun blast. Hey, this goes out to, whoever. But you provided a specific service that not a lot of people provide. And so, you should be able to benefit, or at least be not even benefit. You should be able to be compensated for what that costs you.
Yeah. What is the benefit really? I mean, the VA home loan is an absolute benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the other like advantages that we have, those are benefits.
That's an entitlement, though. In the same thing, the GI Bill and the
GI Bill is a good call out.
GI Bill and the home loan is an entitlement, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're entitled to it if you have met certain requirements. But compensation, disability compensation is it's compensation for something that happened
unable
to you. Right.
to do something or to have to deal with something that normal people don't because of your time in service.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Or people that have to deal with it, but they just didn't incur it in service to their country. Give up 4 good years of our lives, for most people. And, even if, I was a runner anyway, I probably would have gotten, flat feet or, some issue. What is that? What is that called? Like your foot or
when you like sprain that little thing in there?
Yeah.
Plantar fasciitis?
Plantar fasciitis.
Plantar fasciitis, yeah.
You're like, I was a runner, I'd have got that anyway. Well, you got it because you're in the military.
Right.
And so, you deserve to be compensated for that. It's my take on it, I feel like I gave myself permission a long time ago to be like, you know what?
That's a process for people though, to get there, to get to that point, man. And I still, talk to dudes who are dealing with it to this day. What do you think, Mateo? Because you've moved a lot on this in the 2.5, 3 years that we've known each other.
I left active duty in 2008, and I didn't start getting VA benefits, I think, until 2020. And shout out to Mickey Bugowski. It's all because of him. Thanks, buddy.
The big
Mickey, you're so fine.
Yeah, but I totally agree because when I left first of all, when I left active duty, I didn't know anything about anything. I heard disability and I'm like, well, yeah, you have to be missing a limb or have to have like one lung or one eye or whatever. I didn't even know what disability was, and the Marine Corps did zero to educate me or anybody at that time on what it was. And I go through my processing, which lasted 2 days, and it probably should have lasted about 6 months. Go through my out processing, and I get the check. Doc asks, "Is everything all right?" I'm like, "Well, I have
today.
My body is fully. I have all my stuff, so yeah, I'm fine." Fast forward 15 years, and it's
the
just
most
like
Mylot answer to that question ever.
Duh, bro.
I'm good, bro. Can I go?
Yeah, but then fast forward to like today, it's like so many issues in my life it took years to manifest itself. That the impetus was experiences in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And it's like I left and I was like, I'm fine. And then I learned what it was. I'm like, oh, well, shoot, I guess that could apply. And then all of a sudden, my life starts changing. It's like, oh, PTSD is a thing. Oh, like concentration, communication, rage, drinking, like all this stuff is just like, where is this coming from?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I tell you when I started to kind of work through that a little bit more and give myself the space to be able to say some of the things that I'm saying today.
And I felt guilty, just like you were saying. I was just like, dude, we have lost so many people.
Exactly.
It's just like, no, not at all.
The guilt is real. That is real. And that's something that you have to, I think you can work through by having conversations like this with your 3 to 5, that circle that you spend time with, those people that help level you up. Also just like, you got to talk to yourself. Like, you got to go be alone in the woods and be like, how does this really make you feel? Not what do you think other people will think about the decision that you're trying to make. How do you feel about this thing that you're wrestling with? Who gives a shit what other people might say? Because I think that's what it is. It's like some other Recondo bro would be like, dude, what?
You didn't get blown up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like none of us, I think, are really thinking like that. And if there are people in our community that think like that, they're probably on the outside looking in from the people who are really, like making a difference or at least trying to be better every day.
Yeah.
It wasn't until a couple of years ago I started parking in the veteran parking spot at Lowe's.
Dude,
it literally bothered me. I was just like, no, screw that.
I do it at Advanced Auto Parts because nobody's ever there.
Nobody's there.
And Home Depot, there's too many vehicles in the parking lot. In Arlen, it's still in the back of my head, like park 48 rows away because you don't want to get a door ding. So I always park in the back of those parking lots.
I don't.
But I appreciate the veteran parking spaces.
It's so funny. I'm always on edge. When I
really
get out,
do.
I'm like, first of all, do I have anything identifiable on me that says military?
Right,
Swear to God, somebody says somebody. I'm just going, whoa, what do you mean?
Like some first sergeant's going to be over there. You got your hands in your pockets?
Yeah. Are you a vet?
I kind of want to do it with like the Me More veteran hat on, just be like, I'm a vet.
Yeah. Matt will wear his veteran of the fight against medical cannabis or the war against medical cannabis.
Veteran of the cannabis war.
Yeah. Hey,
yeah.
man, no, I'm a vet of cannabis war.
Yeah, man, I'm in fight cannabis war.
Oh, dude, that's so brilliant. I love it so much. I appreciate the things that our society is doing to recognize like our community more and more. Those little visual markers, they should be happening.
Amen,
yeah,
dude.
they should be happening. But
Our country has severely struggled with that in the last 50 years.
Yeah, the point, and I'll put a wrap on this topic of our conversation, is that your time is worth money. What you gave, you should expect something in return for that, for what you deal with every day and for what you might not deal with in the future. And do you guys ask for veteran discounts?
No.
Okay. We're gonna
I
do
do
the veteran.
sometimes.
I do at Home Depot because I spend so much
Oh,
money
yeah.
there.
So Lowe's I do for sure, just because it's a phone number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tower Records gives.
What?
Are you still in the cassette of the month club?
Who shops? Are
Dude,
Tower
hell
Records
yeah.
still
Shout
open?
out. No. But man, if
Oh,
that wasn't a
Blockbuster
staple.
still gives you a free membership card.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
And you can get an extra night.
When I was on active duty, I asked everybody for a military discount.
Did you get super
because-
raged when they said no? You're like, what? We're leaving.
No, I'd be cool about it, but I did it because I was dirt poor, and you don't make any money when you're on active duty, and 10% helps if you're actually apply your active duty service with some financial acumen, and you don't buy a Dodge Dart on a 16.75% interest rate, and you try to budget appropriately. Look at Avery Washington, great example of somebody who like set himself up in his 20s to generate wealth in his 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. So it's possible to do it, but you have to make good decisions. I will absolutely, when I was on active duty, would ask any restaurant that I'd walk into, you guys gonna do a military discount? As a veteran, I don't ever ask any, except for Home Depot.
Well, you know,
I'm also a shareholder at Home Depot, so, I want to,
you want to
I
support
give it back.
Yeah, you got to give it back.
Yeah.
No, I think it might be a good segue into something that we're going to talk about, but
That's what I was doing.
I love segues.
Calling it out.
You know,
Spell segue, Matt.
no, but I feel like for me, part of it too was, I don't know, like when you're in a certain place, I don't know, it's not, I don't know, I just feel weird about asking at like random places, do you have a military discount? You want to pay it forward a little bit, and same thing,
Golden Corral.
Golden Corral does?
On Veterans Day.
On Veterans Day.
Tons of, I'll go get my free shit on Veterans Day.
Yeah, but if you're
My free Krispy Kreme.
going to get the discount, and my point is, if you're gonna get a discount, there's nothing wrong with it. They offer it, they're allowed to offer it, and if you want to take it, you should take it.
Yeah.
But tip on the amount you would have paid without the discount.
Always. Excellent segue, because this is going to be our last topic for conversation on this episode of Signal Fire Radio. A mom on TikTok recently caught the attention of over 2.2 million people after she made her son go back into the restaurant and tip more. Matt, military mom? Or military spouse?
Apparently she's a military
You've
spouse.
got the rundown, Brandon.
She owns like a transitioning veterans like mentor group.
Yeah,
Are you guessing or you know?
No, he knows.
No, it was an
that
article
takes
that I
a
read.
Dee
Wow.
Foster, who is the mom in the video, is a military spouse who owns Dee Foster Consulting, a company that employs military spouses and veterans. So,
I believe it's pronounced DeFoster.
DeFoster.
So the story is, her son goes out to dinner, takes like his
How old is
girlfriend
he?
or
Like a
whatever.
little kid?
He's like
16.
17. 17.
Yep, 16.
Goes to the bill is $106. He leaves a $10 tip.
Yep.
He comes home. She says, "Go get my card. Go get $20 and go tip that person correctly."
Was the service good? I mean,
Well, and so that's a two-part
relative.
question, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. That's
because I served as a server like before Marine
Thank you
Corps
for your
and
service.
after the
Yes,
Marine Corps.
thank you for your service, man.
Food
Thank you.
type.
Thank you.
And dude, I am adamant about always tipping when they deserve a tip. And there's been a couple of times in the last like 10, 15 years that I did not leave a tip because it was so atrocious.
I've never not left a tip, and I work in food service too as well. I won't give, I still think 22% is like the excellent number. 20% is everything met my expectations, and 18% is how I'm like, nah.
Yeah, I'm like a 15% if they're bad.
Yeah.
20
15 to 18, yeah.
20 is like if they're decent.
Yeah.
Typically like 22. But if they're really good and if I go there a lot, I want to tip you What I've found is that if you tip a little bit more and they remember you, then they'll give you preferential treatment and service.
Yes, you're playing the long game. I
Take
do it
care
the
of
same
them,
way.
they'll take care of you.
Remember their name, like call them out when you go back in there.
Manhattan
I can't remember
nightclub?
names.
I write down names. Huh? I
No,
tried
so
to write down
would
names.
you, if you're one of your kids came home and you saw the bill and they only left $10?
First thing I would say is,
how was the
why did
service?
you leave $10?
Yeah.
Have them explain to me and be like, so you had a good experience, everything, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I would definitely say something then. But dude, I've been honest. I mean, there's been times where like one time at Ruby Tuesdays when I was in the Marine Corps.
Well, there's your problem right
one.
there. Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Ruby Tuesday
Dude,
salad bar.
This is no joke. I ordered a sandwich and a no shit marble came like just rolling out of it onto my plate. And I was like, wah! I told them
Did
about
you
it.
lose your marbles?
No, I found my marble. Anyways.
Did you ever stop to think that maybe the person who made that sandwich was a
Was
single
high
mom?
on methamphetamine.
Was a single mom who had to bring her son to school or to work that day, and the only way she could get him to be quiet was to give him his sack of marbles.
Now, time out. Would you say the same if it was a stripper analogy?
No, I would say that thing got lost. That thing got lost. I have never not tipped, but I have been not tipped. And I will say this, that is a character builder. So if you work in the restaurant industry, I think that has to happen. That's table stakes, and it'll pay really good life lessons in the future.
But are you guys telling me there's no type of situation that would warrant 0 tip?
I mean, if my food didn't come, if I didn't pay for anything, like if it was like I'm an hour
You're still
in,
paying for your food.
if the
if
server
I'm like
is
an
a
hour
total,
in and the food doesn't show up, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna go find something else.
Right.
Like that time that we were at that sushi place when it took like 2
Oh,
freaking
God, dude.
hours.
No.
And you were so aggro.
Something like that.
Yeah,
I would,
something like that. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, dude, if this isn't 75% off, you are not getting a
But
tip.
now-
You gotta
but
let the
if-
restaurant do the right thing.
But if
But
the
it's
server,
not always just on the server.
but if the server's constantly checking on you, constantly saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry,"
Which did not
you know,
No,
happen.
and that's different. I'm absolutely
right?
conscious
Yeah,
of that.
but
totally.
so like if like there's an extrinsic force that is not allowing you to get your food or your beer or your soda, something like that, but your server's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, we're working on this. I'm sorry," I would tip, but I'm not going to pay for everything.
Yeah, I'm
because,
talking about experiences where it's 2 hours before you get your
Yeah.
food and you see your server twice and
Yeah.
everybody's dry on water.
No,
and
I'm out.
You just leave?
Just get up and leave.
I'll leave $20 on the table or whatever. I mean, whatever. If I just had water and there was nothing else.
Yeah, let the restaurant eat it, man. The food's gonna come out. Like the restaurant.
Wait, are we with our wives or are we not with our wives? Because that's going to majorly.
Totally different when I'm with my wife. And Jenna's the one who doesn't put up with restaurant BS. I am far too patient. I understand that.
I'm very patient too.
Yeah.
I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah, I am too.
I didn't know that about you.
You didn't?
Good for you.
Thanks, Matt.
Brandon, I knew that about you.
All right. Well, shout out to the mom, D. Foster, military spouse.
Thank you for all your badass
Yeah.
work with free resume
Yeah,
support.
and thanks for teaching your kid and apparently the world a lesson because millions of people
You just
have
confused
seen
two
this.
stories, buddy.
What are you talking about? You talking about Jodie Foster?
1023 my
he was
last.
going back to the first.
1023
first
my
story.
last.
Oh, blessings, Matthew. And this
Wait,
is why
1023. 1022. That's disregard. My bad.
this is why you are a treasure of a human being
We love you.
and why we love you and why our community thanks you for your service. How'd you feel about that episode? I'm giving that an A+ episode.
It's exquisite.
All
if we
right.
could only get the AC working better.
Yes. Gosh.
No, I love.
Thank you, John Michael. You're going to do great in the Navy. I know it, buddy. Brandon Pettyjohn, people want to get in touch with you. What should they do?
At Port City Attorney on all socials.
He's not a guest.
I know he's not a guest. Matt,
When was the last time you freaking asked me that? I'm not a guest.
I'm about
either.
to ask you the exact
My
same
question
thing
is,
if
when
you-
do we update the photograph?
That's a great question.
Hey, when
you
do
know, oh
we,
my gosh, you know what I was thinking?
Kick Evan off the platform.
Was Evan is going to come here to defend
He
himself.
is,
I think
he
we're
is.
going to do a chicken fight. I think we're going to do a
Oh,
fight to
Evan-
the death.
I've been
Brandon would be
training, so
I
this is
know
good.
because they both train.
You have the
Oh,
height.
Evan, this is for you. Okay,
Yeah.
come
Ooh.
at me, bro.
That's a thickum. That's a thickum. I really
You got to be too something to do something. Let's go.
Yeah, but Evan doesn't even have a neck. He's just like
He's all thickness. It's gonna get him riled up. It's gonna be we're gonna his favorite thing in the world is like the WWF character. What does he call it?
The heel.
No, not the heel. The Attitude Era in the WWF. So he's gonna go full Ultimate Warrior on this. I know. We're gonna get him in. It's gonna be an ton of fun. Evan, we love you. Brandon's the Port City Attorney. You know where to get in touch with him. Matt, You won't answer on social media, but if anybody
Yes, I
needs to
will.
get in touch with you, where should they go?
Where should they send their telegram?
Yeah.
Their carrier pigeon.
Western Union. 916-751.
Don't give your number out.
Don't do that.
Don't give
Nine.
your number out. Matt
Do you have
at
a WhatsApp?
Matt,
Yeah, Matt
at
at
signalfire.media. We do podcasts professionally for people. So we don't give out your personal number, but we will give out our email. It's Rob at signalfire.media or
My
Matt
phone number is on the website, by the
at
way.
signalfire.media. We've got to change that. We've got to
You gotta
change
get two
that.
phones.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening in on this episode of Signal Fire Radio. We hope that this was an encouraging conversation that fed your mind, strengthened your body, enriched your spirit, and helped you grow your tribe as you become a Signal Fire in your community. We will talk to you next week.